Hi fantasy managers, welcome to FPL Team Talk. In this video I'm going to take you through some of the players that are on my watch list for game week 26. Going to go through some of the pros and cons and who is it I'm considering for this blank game week, and also looking ahead at those future fixtures. If you've already committed to a wild card, might want to go out and check a previous video that I released earlier in the week. But in the meantime, let's jump into it. So on screen I have my side for game week 26. This is how I am setting up. Game week 25 is still active, so I'll go through how I'm getting on towards the end of the week in a team selection video. Don't worry too much about my captain's armband. It's on Saka at the moment, but I don't know if that's going to stay on now. I'll think about that later on in the week. But I do have, I hope, 11 players that I can get out for game week 26. So Poro, Richarlison and Palmer, I'm fairly happy keeping hold of those, especially when Poro and Richarlison playing 29, which we'll see in a minute. So they're not players going to target. And the reason I'm going through my side now is just to give you context as to the players that I am looking at. But my full intentions is to try and roll this week and give myself 2 transfers for game week 27. And the reason for that is that the FA Cup 5th round will be played next week. So in between game week 26 and game week 27. And I'll know by the time the game week 27 deadline comes around who will definitely be playing in game week 29. And that does affect my plans quite heavily. My intentions are, in terms of chip strategy, is to dead end my side into 29, wildcard that out, and then set up for the rest of the season. My free hit, I'm already in the midst of that, using it for game week 25. So I am specifically looking for players that will play in game week 29. I will touch on a couple of others that won't, but are highly owned as well. But so far, in terms of game week 29, this is how I'm looking. I've got 5-6 players that will definitely play, confirmed fixtures for game week 29. It could be, bearing in mind what happens in the FA Cup, that I get a few more, the likes of Chelsea. If they get knocked out at Leeds, let's say, then suddenly I've got Palmer that comes in, and that fixture against Arsenal will go ahead. So I'd suddenly, instead of having 6, I'll have 9 with Gabriel, Saka and Palmer. It's unlikely that we'll see other sides, but possibly Garnacho if Forest put out Manchester United. Seems unlikely that Ake will get through. They've got to play, and then Man City get knocked out, but we just don't know. There invariably surprises, but that's how I look, and I've got to be thinking about game week 29 in terms of my plans. The team I have, I've got 98 million it's worth at the moment. But I do have 5.9 in the bank, so I've got quite a lot of money to play with and some flexibility. But I don't know. I'd rather know game week 27 who is going to definitely play in game week 29. So I've got 2 moves to get this side up to 9, 10, 11 players. And I don't need to worry too much beyond game week 29 because I can wildcard. And I will also, at that point in game week 30, know which teams are going to be blanking later on in the season, though I won't necessarily know when they're going to do that, and doubling. So that in mind, let's just get straight into it. One of the players that's just been really is the highest brought in player, Mo Salah. I guess it's not surprising after he's had a double-digit haul, but I am a little bit mystified. He's blanking in game week 26, so I don't see the need to bring him in this week unless you've got 2 transfers knocking around and you need to use one and you just think, I'm definitely going to be bringing Salah in. Then yeah, I can maybe understand it then. But he is a lot of money. He's the most expensive midfielder in the game for 13 million. For a player that blanks, he also will play Manchester City in game week 28 and potentially have a blank in 29 as well. The only way they won't have a blank is if Southampton knock Liverpool out at Anfield. And as a Southampton fan, I just don't see that happening. For a start, Southampton I don't think in between game weeks are going to even name an anywhere near strong side for that. So both sides could put weakened sides out, and I just don't see that happening. So Liverpool would have to be knocked out, and then they would end up with a fixture against Everton. But at the moment, the likelihood is they will not have a fixture. So you've got Salah in for 26 blanks, Forest away. I don't think that's a bad fixture at all, but it's not necessarily one I'd want to target, I don't think. We know Salah can score against anyone. Man City, probably their hardest home game of the season, and then a blank in 29. So 2 out of the next 4 they blank. He's the most expensive midfielder. His underlying stats are unbelievable. We know he plays every time he's fit. He's on pens. And listen, he's an absolute legend. Mohamed Salah, with the fixtures, would just be in my side. In game week 30, when I wildcard, I want him in. There's absolutely no question about whether he comes in or not. He will be in my side. Am I looking to bring him in now and he blanks twice out of the next 4 with the Manchester City? I just don't think I am. I don't know, stats are great, but Mo Salah, not that I don't like Mo Salah, unbelievable player, as FPL legend, and a fully fit playing Salah gets in every time, but that's the point, isn't it? He's just not playing. 2 of the next 4 he doesn't play, and Man City's the other one. So for me, no, he's an absolutely, I'm not going near him. If I do want to bring him in, I'm just going to wait until game week 27. Then I'll know 100% sure whether he's blanking in 29. There's no harm in that because he doesn't play. And I'd have to have a pretty strong side out in game week 26 unless I'm free hitting. The only other way that possibly I think people are bringing him in is if they're wildcarding game week 26 and he goes on the bench. That I kind of get, but then you've still got to negotiate 29. But if you're free hitting, then I guess, yeah, you could do. But for me, as a normal transfer, Salah is just great player, but for those fixtures and the lack of them, I just don't think I'm bringing him in. Ivan Toney is a player that interests me. 5 games he's come back since his suspension. He's got 4 goals, 1 assist, and the fixtures have not been kind for him. This video is recorded before the game against Manchester City at the Etihad. So he's got West Ham, Chelsea, Arsenal, and then Burnley in 29. We know he's absolutely nailed. We know he's on penalties. We know he can score against anyone, I guess. And we know his underlying stats are great. 8.2, decent price, I would say as well. It's just how do I fit him in that front line? I've got Watkins and Haaland, and I'm not dropping Haaland anytime soon. Watkins plays in 29 as well, and Slank has the double in 28. So he's not necessarily a player I'm looking to bring in at the moment. Well, I do want to bring him in, but how do I fit him into the side? Possibly when Slank doubles in 28, then he comes out and Toney comes in. Quite possibly. I haven't got the luxury at the moment. If you don't want to use that free hit in 29, I don't think you've got the luxury of being able to bring Toney in for Watkins, because Watkins is going to be playing. But otherwise, I do like him. He's got a good option. He is a good option. I think possibly before the double would have been a better time to bring him in. But yeah, he's on the radar. The other one that's on the radar as well, and unsurprisingly, given his form recently, but if you ask me if we'd been talking about Rasmus Højlund 10, 12 games ago, I would have been a little bit surprised. But yeah, Rasmus Højlund, so he has got 9 returns in the last 7 games, 6 goals in the last 5. The great fixtures aren't great after 29, but look at those. You've got Fulham at home this week, which is great. Man City away, not so great, but then Everton. And then if they get knocked out in the FA Cup, they will have Sheffield United at home. So again, game week 27, we'll know if Forest have progressed or whether Manchester United have progressed. Then Højlund becomes an option. It is tempting to bring him in, but again, I've got the same problem up front. I don't want to take Slank out, he's got a double. Haaland's too good to leave out, and Watkins plays in 29. So how does Højlund fit into that? If you do have a slot, maybe you don't have a Watkins, would you rather go Højlund and Watkins? It's possible, and you are potentially getting more points in the short term. Fulham at home is a great fixture. I'm not sure about Man City away I'd want to target him for. Benching possibly, but then Everton at home, another good fixture, but he's got to be on the radar, and his underlying stats have been brilliant. He's starting to look the real deal for Manchester United. Now, I didn't have any defenders on this watch list, and I did think, well, maybe I need to include one, because if people are worried about, especially if you've got Pedro Porro, and you need to get rid of him in order to get players in, and Pau Torres was about the best. I just no defenders I really like. I did think of Dalot. That doesn't look a bad option, but again, he doesn't play in 29, so I'm kind of swaying away from him a little bit. And the Man United fixture. Pau Torres came back, played the game against Fulham. Wouldn't have been ideal, I wouldn't imagine, but because of their sort of restrictions and injury concerns, Villa had to play him. But he's got through 90 minutes. You'd imagine he's stronger for that. Then you have Forest at home, good fixture. Luton away, don't mind that. Tottenham at home, you'd have to say that's a tough game. And then West Ham away, at least he's playing in blank week game 29. He looks a decent option. I, as a cash owner, would not want to double up on Torres. But I think at some point, Cash's place is going to be risked by Konza coming back. So that is a concern for me. Would I switch to Pau Torres? Only if I knew that Cash wasn't going to play. I think I'd hold on to him for as long as I could. But Pau Torres would be my go-to, I think, once I know that Matty Cash was possibly not keeping his place. That's it for this one then, guys. Let me know in the comments below who you are intending on bringing in for game week 26. Are you thinking of bringing Salah in? And who are you going to captain as well? Catch me later on in the week for our team selection video where we'll be talking about captaincy and the final plans for my transfers are going to make. So, in the meantime, guys, take care. Good luck. Speak to you soon.